Early on in the recent best-selling Australian novel The Slap, there is an extended account of a backyard barbecue in which the interactions of an array of characters operates as a commentary on contemporary Australian suburban manners and preoccupations. This is the barbecue at which the eponymous slap occurs, where one parent hits too hard another, well, I suppose it's always too hard, another parent's child. The slapping of the child is the most dramatic of a number of conflicts over parenting that set the groundwork for the ensuing action. These conflicts range across such recognisable controversies as prolonged breastfeeding, the spoiling of children, and the provision of computer games. When the talk turns to the question of whether to enrol children at public or private schools, the characters' positions on the issue reflect their social ambitions. For the materialistic Harry, the enrolment of his son in a private school is a visible measure of his self-made success, while the defensively working-class Gary is on the side of the public school. Incidentally, the novels, did I say private school for the materialistic one, public school for the working-class one? Anyway. Incidentally, the novel's author, a former Victorian public school teacher, is on the record telling the journalist Caroline Baum, "It's probably the single thing that gets me most angry, what successive governments in this country have done to our public education system."
Well, the My School website has had a lot of bad press, including from me, I confess. But you might be surprised to know, well, if you've read my book you won't be surprised, to know that I think the My School website is the best resource parents have ever had, in fact any one of us has ever had, to help us understand what's happening in the Australian schooling system. There's a whole range of information available on the site, and just about all of it is useful, from the gender mix of a school to the NAPLAN results to school finances. Educational researchers are trawling the site with much enthusiasm and coming up with a lot of interesting findings, I have to say. Just about everyone I know who's involved in education has been on there looking for ammunition to back up their political arguments around everything from the pooling of disadvantaged children to school finances and so on. We're now getting free access to data we previously had to beg governments for or put in FOIs or even pay for. As far as useful to parents goes, we'll take the gender mix for example. Some co-ed schools today are de facto boys' schools, and that's because there's a trend for some families to send their girls to all-girls schools and to send their boys to co-educational schools because girls are a civilising and calming influence on boys, just as long as it's someone else's daughter doing the calming and the civilising, it seems. You can see how the gender mix of a school might be important information to you. Some of the information about private schools, such as school finance, the school finance data, would never have seen the light of day if they hadn't been forced to supply it for the My School website.